When was the last time a North Country politician ran for governor for a major party? I went back to the 1970s and ran out of gas. I feel like maybe in the 1800s. I have no idea. A historian could give us the answer, but suffice it to say, it's been a long time. So next year's race, which could be North Country Congresswoman Elise Stefanik against incumbent Governor Kathy Hochul, is a big one. We talk with some local voters about what they're thinking so far on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Morja Wealth Management, serving the North Country for 3 generations. MorjaWM.com. Securities offered through Hightower Securities, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. Hightower is an SEC-registered investment advisor. And Kinney Drugs, whose pharmacists offer routine seasonal vaccines for older adults, including senior dose influenza, COVID, RSV, and pneumonia. Details at KinneyDrugs.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, November 11th, Veterans Day. There were Veterans Day events today in Lake George, Tupper Lake, Saranac Lake, and many other places across the region. Veterans, thank you very much for your service to our country. First up, Head Start, the federal program that provides free preschool and child care for low-income families, has been hit hard by the government shutdown. Some Head Starts have closed temporarily. Others are staying afloat with local emergency funding. Even when the federal government finally reopens, one North Country Head Start has been left vulnerable. Our news intern Richard Haller reports.
The Warren County Head Start, which has classrooms in Glens Falls, Lake George, Warrensburg, Chestertown, and Lake Luzerne, is at immediate risk of closing its doors. That's because its fiscal year starts on December 1st. This means the program only has enough money to get through the month. Executive Director Sherry Markey says that even if the government shutdown ends this week, it's not a guarantee the money will come through in time. Since the shutdown began, staff have been furloughed, and they've been backed up with grants that they haven't been able to complete.
We're really kind of in a limbo, and we just keep watching every day on what's happening so that we don't have to shut our doors on December 1, but at this point, we don't know.
If this Head Start closes, Markey says that leaves 234 families without child care, which they rely on.
They might not be able to attend school if they can't find other child care. We also offer breakfast and lunch for all of our kiddos. So they wouldn't be having that, and then they will very likely have a reduction in their SNAP benefits as well.
Food security and child care are intertwined. Many families who could see a reduction in SNAP benefits might not have the option to send their children to a place that provides free meals. And there are other essential services that Head Start provides, like education and time for kids to socialize.
All of our children as a whole are going to miss out on all of the socialization and things that we work with them every day. So there would very likely be a lot of regression with the children.
Roger Figueroa, a professor at Cornell who researches nutrition security, says that families heavily rely on the services provided by Head Start. For many, there's no other place for families to send their kids.
If you know anything about the childcare landscape, center-based childcare tends to be really expensive. Some families have to choose between enrolling a child in a center-based, childcare setting and going to work. Having a program that provides these services for free, it's a lifeline for a lot of families.
Even before the shutdown, funding for Head Start was already threatened due to proposed cuts from the Trump administration. Figueroa says the government's lack of clarity creates anxiety for families who use the program.
We just keep receiving new information from the administration. It's really hard to receive the information and then do something with it that could predict an outcome in a month, because in a month there's another wave of news. It's been really hard to plan for the future within the current political climate.
For many people working in Head Start and other social safety programs, uncertainty has become the norm, both during the shutdown and under the broader policies of the Trump administration. Back to the Head Start in Warren County, Director Markey says there isn't much they can do right now. She says some Head Starts are applying for credit, but their program can't take that risk because there's no guarantee that their funds will be reimbursed by December.
So we're really kind of just stuck.
Markey says they've been reaching out to as many people as possible, hoping they'll contact their representatives and senators to raise awareness about the families who could lose child care. For North Country Public Radio, I'm Richard Haller in Canton.
After more than a decade in D.C., Congresswoman Elise Stefanik has her sights set on Albany. The Republican from the North Country announced her bid for New York's top job last week. She's aiming to unseat Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul. Emily Russell spoke with voters in the Adirondacks who found flaws in both candidates.
Elise Stefanik was first elected to represent the North Country in Congress in 2014. Back then, she was seen as a moderate and pledged to be a fresh voice in Washington. On the morning Stefanik announced her bid for governor, I meet Zebulon Edwards at a gas station in Raybrook. He's a Democrat and says he appreciated how Stefanik governed in those early years.
I would say probably her first 3-4 years was great. I actually really liked her. And then she kind of took a turn, and it seems like things have gone in a different direction with her, and I don't support that anymore.
Edwards is referring to Stefanik's hard shift to the right and her unwavering loyalty to President Donald Trump. When it comes to Governor Kathy Hochul, Edwards says his opinions are mixed.
I would like to see somebody else run for governor.
As a Democrat or Republican?
Either one. I don't really have a preference for either party right now. I just want to see something fresh, something new.
Hochul has struggled to build support in rural upstate regions like the North Country. She lost every county here in 2022. The widest margin was in Lewis County, where she earned less than 18% of the vote. Dan Olson is a school bus driver from Saranac Lake. He's a registered Republican and is critical of some of Hochul's mandates, like her push for electric school buses and all electric home appliances.
It seems like she likes to ban a lot of things, like ban gas stoves. All houses have to be electric by a certain date. And electric heat is really expensive, especially around here.
Olson believes Stefanik understands those issues, and he thinks she'd bring more federal dollars to the state since she's got close ties to Trump. But Olson would also like to see Stefanik stand on her own and put some distance between herself and the president.
I think she really needs to be a more independent thinker. And hopefully, if she does get elected to this new position, hopefully she can kind of de-align herself with the president.
But other Republicans see Stefanik's self-described ultra-MAGA stance as a good thing. James Walker is a registered Republican and lives out near Bloomingdale. I meet him sipping coffee in a gas station. Walker thinks Stefanik's loyalty to Trump will help her in the governor's race.
There's a lot of people in this area that are for Donald Trump. So I don't think that's really going to hurt her chances.
But statewide, Democrats outweigh Republicans by a 2-to-1 margin. A Republican hasn't won the governor's race in New York since 2002. There are also more than 3 million voters unaffiliated with any political party. Walker has voted for Stefanik in every election and is happy she's trying to oust Hochul from the top job.
I think Kathy Hochul is dragging us down. I'm a retired correction officer, and she didn't really do good for the correction officers.
Hochul fired about 2,000 corrections officers after they illegally went on strike and then refused to return to work once the state reached a deal with the union representing COs. Inside a cafe in downtown Saranac Lake, Lisa Meissner and her husband are out for breakfast. They're both Democrats. Meissner is critical of Stefanik's voting record, especially her support for Trump's big tax bill this summer, which will make massive cuts to Medicaid. That program provides health coverage to more than 30% of folks in the North Country.
I mean, we could lose all our hospitals in the North Country because of her actions. So I don't think she's serving us.
Meissner says she's not wild about Governor Hochul, but she thinks Stefanik could be really dangerous for New York.
I'm hopeful she has no chance, but we also have to be very mindful and not take it for granted.
The last time Hochul was challenged by a Republican, Lee Zeldin, she won by just a narrow 6-point margin. The latest independent poll released in September had Hochul leading Stefanik by 25 points. New York has long been seen as a solidly blue state, though it saw the biggest swing of Republican voters nationwide in last year's election. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio, Saranac Lake.
We have more news all the time at our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Michael Farley of Canton and Patricia Julian of Burlington. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.